I was shocked to see that more than 50% of younger Americans were wholeheartedly in Hamas's corner on this issue. In other words, I mean, they basically said Israel should be given to Hamas and the Palestinians. I mean, in a major poll. I mean, that really shocked me. And I'm not saying that they're ironclad in their ways. In other words, it could be that if control over social media is restored, if control over the mainstream media is restored, if the fighting dies down, maybe in 5 years' time or 3 years' time, their views will be different. But I mean, those are shocking statistics. And I mean, the facts of the whole Israeli-Palestinian struggle are so incredibly one-sided that so long as even a fraction of the true information comes out, I think the results are extremely clear cut. I mean, for example, there was a leading Chinese influencer. China's pretty much taken a very much a neutral position on the conflict. In other words, they certainly don't want to get involved. And I think, as far as I know, their media has been fairly neutral as well. A leading Chinese influencer asked his, I think, million audience whether they felt the rights of the situation were more on the side of Israel or more on the side of the Palestinians. And 98% of the Chinese supported the Palestinians. Because, I mean, the facts are just absolutely clear cut. I mean, basically, Israel in the 1948 war, Jews moved to Palestine. They seized the country from the Palestinians who'd been living there for many, many hundreds of years and drove them out. I mean, you can't get any more straightforward than that. I mean, they organized massacres and atrocities, including, for example, brutally killing children to try to drive the Palestinians out of their native land and make them refugees, which they've been now for, going on 70 years. And now the Palestinian refugees living on the West Bank and Gaza, who originally lived in Israel proper, the Israelis are trying to drive them out again, which is just, absolutely outrageous by any reasonable standard in the world. So it's certainly true that maybe some extremely ethnocentric or extremely religious Jews might have a different view of the situation. But I think anyone who looks at the facts with, any sort of reasonable approach, I mean, sees the whole situation as totally outrageous. And the reason more Americans don't see it that way, whether they're Jewish or non-Jewish, is because they're not given the facts. The media has been totally biased for generations on this. And it's only people who discover the reality of the situation, read books, or even visit Israel itself, who find out just how straightforward the facts are in something like this. So, I think given the rise of social media and so many thousands of Palestinians now being slaughtered by the Israelis, I think it's very likely that there really will be a change in sentiment that will have much more lasting impact.